Ever find yourself maybe staring at the ceiling late at night, wondering why you keep falling back into the same old routines? You know, you tell yourself tomorrow's the day, you get all motivated, set these big goals, and then poof, like you just slide right back. We've all felt that. So today in the deep dive, we're really digging into that. Why is making real lasting change just so incredibly hard? And like, what's that invisible thing that seems to pull you back no matter how hard you try?
Oh, absolutely. It's such a common frustration, isn't it? That gap between who you are right now and come. And it doesn't matter if it's something small, like trying to eat better consistently, or, a huge life change, like a career switch. The struggle, real.
It really is. And the first big thing we found, digging into our source, might actually surprise you. The reason it's so tough, it's not because you're late or broken or just don't have enough willpower. It's because real change, goes directly against the basic wiring of your brain, how it's set up for survival.
That's the crucial starting point, really. You have to grasp that first. Just think about this number our sources suggest. Somewhere around 40, maybe even 50% of everything you do each day. It's not a conscious decision, it's just autopilot, habit. Almost half your life running on these programs you didn't actively choose today.
Wow, half our lives on autopilot. That's kind of mind-blowing. So when we decide, okay, new habit time, we're not just like flipping a switch. We're actually going up against millions of years of evolution.
Precisely. That's exactly it. For ages, survival wasn't about constant change. It was about sticking with what worked. Habits saved energy, kept things predictable, safe. Our brains are fundamentally built to automate for efficiency, for stability. It's ancient programming.
So these aren't just bad habits. We need to break through sheer will. They're more like deeply carved highways in the brain, survival blueprints.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Think of them like well-worn paths or, super highways. Every single time you repeat a thought and action, you're paving that road a little deeper. After years, sometimes decades, those pathways are so ingrained that trying to change feel. Well, the sources say it's like trying to change a river's course with a teacup. And the pullback to the familiar, this resist, psychologists call it homeostasis. Your whole system just wants to stay the same.
Homeostasis. Okay.
Yeah.
That really clicks. There's this invisible biological tide pulling us back. And it makes total sense then why, New Year's resolutions mostly fail. That statistic, like over 80% gone by February.
Exactly. It's not usually about lack of effort. People try, but they're often trying brute force against this deep biological current. And here's a really wild insight from the source. Your brain often sees familiar suffering as safe, actually safer than unfamiliar happiness.
That sounds so backwards, but I get it. It explains why we stick with routines, jobs, even relationships that aren't good for us. The known misery feels less scary than the unknown possibility of something better. The brain just wants what it knows.
It really does. Familiarity is king, even if it's harmful familiar. Wait, there's more. The sources point to an even deeper layer. It's not just habits and biology.
Oh, really? Another layer. Okay, tell me about that.
Well, a lot of these habits we fight, they're not just simple routines. They're actually coping mechanisms, like clever strategies your mind cooked up probably a long time ago when you felt vulnerable, just to keep you feeling safe or comfortable, even if they backfire now.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples. How does that look day to day?
Okay, think about procrastination. Maybe it feels like laziness, but maybe it's actually protecting you from a fear of failure, or judgment, or overeating. It could be a way to numb anxiety, right? Or other feelings you don't want to face. Staying stuck in a job that's okay but unfulfilling, that might feel safer than the huge uncertainty of going after a dream. So when you try to change that pattern, you hit this invisible wall because some part of you thinks that old habit is keeping you safe.
Whoa, so all that pushing, all that willpower, it fails because we're literally fighting ourselves, fighting some internal protector we didn't even know was there. Okay, this has to lead into that other big idea from the sources, the identity shift.
Yeah, this is huge for understanding why some changes stick and others don't. Real lasting change isn't just about trying harder. It's about changing how you see yourself, your fundamental self-concept. Like, you can force yourself to go jogging, but if deep down you still think, I'm not a runner, eventually you'll stop running. Yeah. Your actions snap back to fit your identity. It's the difference between saying, I'm a smoker trying to quit, and embodying, I'm a non-smoker. Big difference.
Right. It's not just the doing, it's the being. So how do we actually become that new person? Does it just happen?
No, definitely not overnight. It's not like flipping a switch. Identity is built brick by brick, built through consistent evidence, little wins, repeated small actions that prove the new identity to yourself. And this is where a lot of us trip up. We want it now, but identity shifts time.
Yeah. The whole 21 days to form a habit thing, that's mostly myth, right? Our sources kind of debunk that.
They really do. Actual studies, they suggest the average is closer to 66 days. And for complex stuff, way longer. So many people quit way too soon. They feel a resistance, the difficulty in things. But really, they were just in the messy middle of the rewiring process.
So that feeling, the discomfort, that this is hard, that it's not working, that's not a stop sign. It's actually a sign that the rewiring is happening.
Exactly. Discomfort isn't failure. It's the feeling of your brain literally building new connections, breaking down old ones. It means you're in the process.
That's a much better way to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, but even understanding all this, the habits, the identity, the brain's resistance, sometimes you still feel stuck. The sources mentioned another hurdle, right? Something about an unconscious gap.
Yes, this is really deep stuff.
Yeah.
It's this gap between what you consciously say you want and what you unconsciously believe you actually deserve. You might want success, love, or wealth, right? But if there's some old duck-down program running that says, I'm not worthy, or that's scary, that hidden belief can sabotage everything.
The silent saboteur working behind the scene. And how much of us is run by that unconscious stuff? Is it a lot?
It's staggering, actually. Psychologists estimate something like 90, even 95% of our daily thoughts and actions come from that unconscious program. Scripts we picked up in childhood, from our culture, our environment. So if you keep doing things that go against your own best interest, it's likely not you being broken. It's probably just old code running the show.
90 to 95%.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so awareness becomes absolutely critical then, not just trying harder, but really shining a light back there and asking, okay, what's really going on? What belief is driving this?
You got it. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you're kind of flying blind, destined to repeat pattern. And here's the irony. A lot of the things we do to try and fix it, like endlessly scrolling for tips, downloading motivation apps, they can actually keep us stuck. They give you a little hit of feeling productive, like you're doing something, but they distract from the actual, often uncomfortable work.
Yeah, it's like reading cookbooks, but never actually cooking. Feels good for a second, but nothing changes. So if willpower isn't the main answer and awareness, what about our actual surround, our environment? How much does that matter?
Oh, hugely. Maybe more than anything else. Our sources are really clear on this. Your surroundings, the people around you, the cues in your space, they shape your behavior more than willpower ever could. It's fundamental.
That shifts the focus completely, doesn't it? Less internal battle, more external design. So instead of gritting your teeth all day to avoid the junk food, just don't have it in the house.
Exactly. Make the good choice the easy choice, the path of least resistance. Want to read more? Put the book where you normally put your phone. The idea is you're not fighting your impulses constantly. You're designing your world so the right choice is practically automatic. Stack the deck in your...
Okay. We've covered a lot. Ancient brain wiring, these deep coping mechanisms, hidden beliefs, the power of environment. You can almost feel a bit hopeless, like we're just stuck in these loops. Is real change actually possible, or are we just fated to repeat things?
No, here's the really hopeful part. The exact same brain that resists change, it's also incredibly wired for growth, for learning, for adaptation. This neuroplasticity, the brain's amazing ability to rewire itself, literally change its structure throughout your life, that's your superpower here. So it's not, can you change? The real question is, are you willing to walk through it? Through the discomfort, the resistance, the slow, sometimes invisible process of that rewiring.
That slow process bit. That's tough in our culture, isn't it? Everything's instant now. But our brains, they're on a different clock.
Totally different clock. Real change is usually slow, quiet, fragile at first. It often feels like nothing's happening externally, even when huge shifts are underway inside, which is why, maybe, the greatest skill in change is not intensity, but consistency.
Right, that idea of marginal gain.
Yep.
Like in cycling.
Right.
Just getting 1% better each day, not trying to do a massive overhaul overnight.
Exactly that. Tiny actions done over and over. They compound, they build. But here's the tricky part. Consistency can feel, boring. And so many people quit right when it starts feeling boring, right before the breakthrough, mistaking that lack of novelty failure.
So boredom could actually be a good sign, a sign that the new pathway is getting paved, becoming more automatic.
It absolutely can be.
But
it means it's taking less effort, becoming more normal. Your brain is locking it in. And this isn't just about actions. It applies to your thoughts too. Neuroscience shows us thoughts physically change the brain. Neurons that fire together wire.
So the stories we tell ourselves, even if we start out hesitant, like, okay, I'm becoming someone who does this, that repetition actually starts building the physical structure in our brain.
Yes, strengthens those connections. Your brain starts to believe it, but we can't just talk logic. Change is emotional, deeply emotional. If it were just logic, we'd all be perfect, right?
True. We all know logically what we should do. Eat the salad, go for the walk, save the money. The how isn't usually the mystery. And so what happens when life throws stressing, when the fear creeps in or that old comfort habit calls?
Yeah, when stress hits, fear rises, comfort calls. Emotion often wins that battle. Easily. The real art isn't trying to crush those emotions. It's learning to work with them. It's about pausing in that moment, the craving, the fear, whatever it is, acknowledging it like, okay, there you are, without judge, and then just trying to make a different choice, even if it's hard, especially when it's hard.
Which leads to the big one.
Yeah.
Failure. Because slipping up, falling back into the old ways after you've tried so hard, that feels awful, like it's all over.
But it's so important to reframe that. Failure isn't the end. It's just part of it. expected even. Every slip up, every relapse, it's not the end. It's feedback. It's data. It just shows you where the old wiring is still strong, where you need more practice, more reinforcement. Think about a toddler learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times. We don't call them a failure at walking. They just get back up again and again.
That's such a good analogy. Puts our self-criticism in perspective. We never talk to a toddler like we talk to ourselves sometimes.
Oh.
Okay, what about waiting? Waiting until we feel ready or motivated. Is that a trap?
Oh, it's a huge trap. Keeps so many people stuck. Readiness is a myth. Seriously. People wait forever for the confidence or the motivation to just magically show up before they start. It rarely happens that way. The truth, action creates readiness. You don't wait to feel ready to act. You act, and the feeling follows. The confidence builds from the doing.
So maybe change isn't about building some entirely new person from scratch, but more like uncovering, returning to the capable person who got buried under all the conditioning.
Beautifully put, yes. It's often a process of rediscovery, coming home to who you really are underneath it all. And the goal, it's not perfection. It's not some finish line where you're mastered. It's constant evolution. Mm-hmm. You will stumble again. Resistance will show up again. That's just human. But every time you choose to get back up, every time you recommit, you're strengthening that muscle of transformation.
Wow. Okay, this whole deep dive really changes the perspective on change itself. It's not one big battle you win or lose.
Not at all. I think the core message from all this is really you are not stuck because you're incapable. You're stuck because you've been treating change like a single decisive battle.
Yeah.
And it's not a fight. It's a practice, a rhythm. It's a relationship with yourself, really. One that needs patience, compassion, forgiveness, and just quiet.
So to everyone listening, you're human. Your brain is wired to resist. Your feelings will surge. Old habits will call back. But none of it means you're stuck forever. Mm-hmm. Because you're also wired to grow, to adapt, to evolve.
So yeah, stop waiting for that perfect moment. Stop beating yourself up for not being perfect already. Just start small. Start now. Take one tiny imperfect step.
And maybe, just maybe, the fact that you're still listening right now, still asking these questions, maybe that's the proof right there. Proof that deep down, some part of you hasn't given up, that you're still leaning towards change.
And honestly, that matters more than you can imagine. Because as long as you keep showing up, even in the smallest ways, you are changing, you are rewiring, you are becoming.